On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, Jujutsu Kaisen Episode 3, Girl of Steel. I am seriously enjoying myself watching this series. This adaptation is ridiculous. Not only that, but our trio is complete. Yes, Nobara Kugisaki has finally shown up, and she is just as boisterous as I pictured her in the manga. Like, this is the girl. This is her. This is Nobara. Now, last we left off, even though Yuji decided to go along with Gojo's plan of becoming the vessel for Sukuna, his enrollment in Jujutsu Tech was still up in the air. First, he has to pass his interview, and it just so happens to be with the school's principal. But it turns out it's only one question: why do you want to enroll? With his first couple answers deemed unworthy, Yuji is given a moment to reflect on his third and final answer, coming to the realization that, hey, I want to live and die without regrets. Being the vessel is something only I can do. And with this, the interview is over. Welcome, Yuji Itadora, to Jujutsu Tech. Go ahead, unpack your things, say hello to your next door neighbor, which just happens to be Fushiguro, but don't take too long because we have shit to do. We have to go pick up the other first year, and this is where we pick up today's episode, with Nobara finally arriving at her desired destination, and Yuji sporting some fly new duds. The stage is set for our first years to finally meet, and meet they shall in true comedic fashion. After Gojo interrupts Nobara's unsuccessful attempt to become a model, the first years give each other their introduction, and we get this nice point of view coming from Nobara, who seems to view Yuji as a potato boy who definitely ate his boogers when he was young, and Fushiguro is nothing but a high and mighty arsonist? Yeah, viewing him as one of those people who like to set oil-slicked galls on fire? What the fuck is this chick talking about? Perceiving the tension between the first years, especially between Yuji and Nobara, Gojo decides to alleviate the situation with, you know what, we're in Tokyo, why not take a tour of the city? With the two quickly changing their mood, only squabbling over where their desired destination should be, Gojo quickly quashes the argument in pure senpai fashion. Oh, I've already chosen, we're headed to Roppongi. Haha, just kidding. Actually, we're gonna go exercise some curses because you guys are trying to be shaman, so... Yes, it seems once again Gojo is in the mood for testing. First, it was Yuji in his control over Sukuna, and now it seems to be the two first years in their overall ability, setting them to exercise the curses by themselves. This is where we get a really good conversation. Not only does Nobara find out that Yuji ate one of the fingers, and she is visibly disgusted by this, we learn that while Yuji does have curse power flowing through his body, he really can't do anything with it. So he's actually given a demon-destroying blade, which is a pretty badass weapon. But in his hands, we will soon see that is legit OP. So with Fushiguro still recovering from the battle at the school, it's up to Yuji and Nobara to exercise the curses. Now, of course, given their demeanor in their very first interaction, the two definitely seem at odds, with the majority of the contention coming from Nobara, seeing Yuji as quote-unquote still a normie. She decides the best course of action is for them to split up. Of course, yes, Yuji is still like a neophyte. He literally just got cursed powers, even admitting I think it'd be safer for us to stick together, but a swift kick in the stomach definitely sent him on his way. But it was only a second after Nobara left that he actually encountered his first curse, and we see him put that dagger to action. He's legit. He really is legit. Now, meanwhile, outside, Gojo and Fushiguro are having a conversation. Now, Gojo admits that Yuji is legit fucking crazy. There are definitely a few screws loose when it comes to Yuji. He literally showed no hesitation in his battle at the school. So this little exercise, this little test isn't really designed for him. It's more or less for Nobara. And this is where we get a nice little bit of information in regards to curses. See, curses have a direct relationship with population. See, they're born from human fear, i.e. the more people, the more fear, the stronger and the more curses there will be. But it's just not a matter of strength though. As Gojo points out, yes, they might have more curse power, but it's also their level of intelligence, as we'll soon see when Nobara comes face to face with her curse. Now you can tell that she actually is accustomed to exercising curses. Not only is she easily able to spot quite literally a needle in the haystack or a needle in a pile of needles, it's a mannequin standing with other mannequins. She's easily able to discern that this is a curse and even gives us an opportunity to show itself. But it seems running low on patience, and out of mercy, she decides to go on a full-on attack, and this is where we get to see a little bit of her power. Utilizing a hammer and nails, and I say nails in the most basic term of that's because that's what goes with hammers. These things are pretty large. They look more like fucking spikes. But as they begin to glow with this bluish flame aura, which is fucking brilliant looking, by the way, she launches them with an all-out Thor's hammer attack as they embed into the Manhattan skull, and it finally shows itself and it starts popping up these eyes. But before it can really do anything, Nobara is able to send the spikes even deeper into this thing's skull, eventually exploding it. Now at this point, I can only guess how her power actually works. Maybe she infuses the nails themselves with her cursed power, and even though she's no longer touching them, because they're still infused with said power, she's able to manipulate them at will. There's probably going to be some kind of range or strength or even a time limitation to that, but honestly, the effect on this and just the overall ability is pretty fucking badass. But this is where her test truly begins. Even though the curse is gone, she is not alone in this room as she notices a small child cowering in the background, seemingly letting her guard down to gain the trust of the child, but it seems she's fallen into a trap. Yes, a curse soon appears, grabbing the child by its head. It now has a hostage as he is pointing his blade-like finger to the child's throat, drawing blood. This is the level of cunning that Gojo was talking about. How will she be able to deal with a curse that can actually think? And it seems Nobara's best plan of action is just to kind of surrender, even though she admits worst case scenario is that they both die, best case scenario is at least one of us lives, and yeah, she's actually not given a lot of time to contemplate her current situation, although realizing that the curse is not giving up the child, all the attention seems to be quickly drawn to the wall, which now has a human fist sticking out of it. Yes, Yuji behind a concrete wall has not only punched, but is now breaking his way through, and once again showing absolutely no hesitation, is easily able to sever fingers and hand from the curse, thus securing the child, to which the curse's instincts must have kicked in as he decides to dip. Fuck this, I am out of here, but he doesn't get very far. Nobara showcasing another one of her abilities, utilizing a straw doll, much akin to a voodoo type ritual, pierces it as well as the left behind arm, to which we see the curse, which is now outside, completely enveloped in spikes and has officially been exorcised. Now, we do get a little bit more backstory on Nobara and the reason why she's here. Now, during the standoff, there was a little bit of information given. She wished she could see her friend Sayori one more time, and with this, we get a little bit of backstory into her. It turns out she is basically her big sis, this beauty that came from Tokyo, who shined a light in this rural city, but had somehow garnered all the hatred of the city's people and was eventually, forced out of town. She really had an impact on her. And this is where we see why Nobara is here. Not only does she want to see Sayori one more time, but she also fucking hates the countryside. And even if I put my life on the line, yeah, I'd rather fucking live in Tokyo. Yuji eventually comes to the realization that I guess everyone has their own reason for doing this. But it seems the test has been passed. Everyone is okay. Gojo and Fushiguro take the kid back to their home. Everyone's safe and sound. Once again, we're getting this nice little interaction between Yuji and Nobara from going where to go to now what's for dinner. These two are definitely creating their own dynamic. Now, before we get to the preview and post-credit scene, this is it. This is where shit gets fucking crazy really early on. If you guys read this series of texts that are legit in the actual manga, you know what's going to happen. As these guys can only stand in all of this floating spherical apparition, the narrator informs us of what's about to transpire. A very chaotic event. The 3 first years are sent to exercise a curse with the potential of becoming a special grade. Unfortunately, after said incident transpired, one perished. Oh, did your nipples just get hard? Seriously. Like, oh my god, I'm so excited because this is where the shit okay, so post-credit scene, we get them still fighting over what's for dinner, and eventually, Nobara gets her sushi, but then Yuji talks her into doing a revolving sushi place, so it brings out the sushi on a fucking bullet train. I've actually seen that shit, and if I ever get the chance to go to Japan, yes, I'll be trying all the fucking food, and that's towards the top. Besides super badass ramen place that you have to wait for hours. Anyways, rant over. But the preview. The fucking preview. Now, I'm not saying it's a copy, because I know how fucked people get. Oh, it's just a ripoff. Oh, today's episode, they had 2 guys and a girl. Oh, it's a Naruto trio. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, when you see the curse in the preview, did anyone else think of the movie The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and shit? Or Pan's Labyrinth, those fucking mythical end boss type creatures that are just fucking creepy as shit. Honestly, I thought of The Cell. When I fucking read this, I was like, oh, Holy shit. Anyways, this series is fucking ridiculous. I absolutely love everything about it. It seems we're getting, once again, a strong female protagonist. The curses are becoming more and more cringy and creepy. All the characters are slowly starting to flush out and stuff, and like we're building upon a really good foundation, and like I just love it. Not to mention the aesthetics of the episodes, like the effect on Nobara's hammer and nails, the animation in her final attack. If you actually slowed it down and saw all the speed lines and stuff, like it was great. And not to mention Yuji's animation with his curse using his blade, like the choreograph and the camera movement alone is just fucking dynamic as shit. Like everything is awesome. The visuals are awesome. The audio is fucking ridiculous. Shit is legit. So anyways, with all that being said, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.